10th, 2021. Shower. The giant sculpture is engraved with the 3 golden words Jinggangshan, which is a household name. In the history of the Chinese Revolution and the founding of the Chinese People's Liberation Army, Jinggangshan occupies an extremely important position. With curiosity about this place, I started a trip to Jinggangshan. Here, through hard practice in the struggle to open up the Jinggangshan Revolution base, Mao Zedong and his comrades found the right way to encircle the city from the countryside and seize power by force. The 3 disciplines and 6 precautions that the People's Army must abide by was also formulated here, and they're all still the norms for every member of the Chinese People's Liberation Army. It can be said that without Jinggangshan, there will be no subsequent stories.
Hi everyone, my name is Bryce Ichigumije. Yes, I'm back. Guess what? I'm actually located now at the Jinggangshan area. It's so beautiful, and yes, it's located here in China. Well, after the 2 previous episodes, well, I was so mesmerized about the story of the Red Army, and I want to share more with you guys. So let me tell you, I always ask myself, why do Red Army get so much attention and support? Well, don't you worry, because I'm here to inform you. Guess what? This place is also known as the cradle of the Chinese Revolution, China's first rural revolutionary base. So guys, what this place is famous for? Well, guess what? I also don't know. You know what? Follow me and find out.
After the Red Army arrived in Jinggangshan, the Jinggangshan Revolution Base was initially formed with Ninggang as its center. The local people in Jinggangshan actively supported the Red Army. Not only men answered the call to join the army, women and children also supported them. The children also learned how the soldiers fought, making red tasseled spears with bamboo poles, thinking that when they grow up, they would join the Red Army to fight the enemies bravely. In Jinggangshan, the Red Army of the Chinese workers and peasants had mobilized all forces that can be mobilized.
This place is full of history, and I love history, and I'd like to share history with you guys. For instance, I can see here this beautiful slogan is actually very powerful. Let me translate what it says. Okay. It says if a woman should take part in the Soviet regime, which is very powerful, right? At that time, yes, men used to do the whole work, but even women were also participating. For example, bring them food, also help them to make the sandals. That was very, very fascinating. And there's something else. As you can see here behind me, we have actually young warriors. So they're actually not warriors yet. They're just, they're just young, but they want to be, Red Armies when they grow up. So this is the status when they used to be kids. They used to have that, ambition that when they grow up, they are willing to fight for their countries. As you can see, this wasn't like a real spear. It was actually a spear made of wooden. As you can see, this one here is wearing a gun, but it's actually made of wood. So this means that even young generation, they are willing to help their countries and of course to overcome their fear, and one day they might join the Red Army as well.
In 1928, as soon as the troops led by Mao Zedong settled in Jinggangshan, the KMT carried out suppression of this revolution base area. By the beginning of 1929, the KMT had launched as many as 5 large-scale joint suppression against the Jinggangshan. In the Jinggangshan Revolution Museum, it records such a story.
This picture is very fascinating. Let me tell you the history of Liu Renkan. He was actually a brave man at that time, and he was captured by the KMT, and he was forced to say the secret of the party. Actually, he did not. Guess what happened? They took a blade and cut off his tongue. So as you can see, he was suffering but still not say anything about the secret. And with the help of his blood, he just took the blood and wrote something very special, 6 characters on the floor. It actually means Geming, Chenggong Wan Cui. It means we are here and we won't say anything.
After the main force of the Central Red Army withdrew from Jinggangshan, the KMT authorities carried out cruel revenge and brutal massacre against the former Central Soviet area in Jiangxi. Jinggangshan area is one of them. They carried out a massacre of their unarmed citizens. The director of the exhibition room of the Jinggangshan Revolution Museum explained to me the crimes committed by the KMT here.
红四军下山以后，井冈山失守以后，我们井冈山就完全遭受到了大肆的屠杀。当时敌人上山以后就说石头要过刀，茅草要过火，人要换种。所以，在我们整个磁平范围内，被杀的人、被烧的房子不计其数。因为那一年29年1月是天气非常寒冷，已经下了40多天的大雪，所以积雪堆得很厚。但是呢，敌人当时就是说，井冈山的这些红军一定要全部杀干净。所以说，在看到那些鼓起来的，他怕人会藏在那个雪堆里面，只要看见鼓起来的东西，他都会用刀砍上一刀，哪怕这圆滚滚的只是一块石头。所以呢，叫石头要过刀，茅草要过火。因为当时我们大家都知道，井冈山这地方是相对比较贫困的地方，除了房子以外，除了有这种居住的房子以外，还有一些比较穷的，或者甚至家里面搭的一些窝棚。只要是盖起来的东西，建筑，都是一把大火要烧干净的，就哪怕是茅草屋都不会放过的。这就是茅草过火，人要换种，意思很简单的，就是把所有的井冈山人要杀绝。要给你们换种，因为你们太红了。
These fascist acts cannot help but make people frightened. It is hard to imagine that these actions are what a legitimate government did to its people on its own land.
29年的5月份，彭德怀当时率领红五军再一次返回到井冈山。那个时候就是说，知道敌人。 就那一段时间已经烧完了，不可能一直待那儿，就下山了吧。然后彭德怀也率领红五军，就是慰问一下当地群众。当时就带了2000块大洋。为什么带2000块？因为主席在初上井冈山的时候，因为他很喜欢调查研究，所以他在调查研究当中就写到了井冈山大概是有人口2000余人，就是原住民。所以当时彭德怀就根据这个数据，他就带了2000块大洋上来慰问当地群众。 一人手上发1块，目的是清点一下人数，再一个呢就是发点慰问金。但是这2000块大洋发出去以后，清点一下，只有大概700-800块，杀个半数都不止。
During the Jinggangshan period, the KMT imposed the economic blockade on the Jinggangshan area in order to besiege it. In order to supply supplies, the Red Army could only rely on manpower to carry food up to a mountain every day. Therefore, this path that used to carry grain is also called the grain carrying trail. One section of this trail still retains its original appearance, so let me experience this lifeline today.
The local villagers and the Red Army used this pathway to go up to the mountain. But what made this pathway special, guys, guess what? It actually, they were carrying heavy shoulder poles to go up to the mountain, and it took them at least 6 hours to go and come back. So guys, today I'm going to experience this whole scenario. Well, this place always rains because we are inside the mountain, right? But don't worry guys, because today I brought my own raincoat and I'm so ready for the whole scenario. You're ready? I'm ready. Let's go right away. You know what? I think in 2 hours, I'm gonna finish the whole pathway. You know what? Believe me, let's go. 2 hours, guys. 2 hours only.
As the leaders of the party and the army, Mao Zedong and Zhu De took the lead in carrying grain. Zhu De, the commander of the army at that time, was nearly 50 years old and insisted on carrying 2 baskets of grain, going up and down the mountain for 50 kilometers every day. His guard was afraid that he was exhausted, so he hid his carrying pole. But no one ever thought that Zhu De made another carrying pole and wrote Zhu De owns on it. On the next day, he kept carrying grain personally and going up the mountain. Under their leadership, the Red Army transported more than 150,000 kilograms of grain to Jinggangshan with carrying poles on their shoulders, solving the problem of supply.
Well, guys. As you can see, we still have 1,900 meters up waiting for us. All I want to say, this place, as you can see, I'm out of breath. It's very challenging. And remember, the Red Army and the local people, not only they are climbing, but they are carrying heavy shoulder poles, remember, with food in it, water, maybe also carrying kids. It was very tough. It was very, very tough. And there's something else I'd like to say. I mean, the ground, it's so slippery. So meaning, if you don't pay attention, you just fall down. So all I can say, the Red Army really did a good job. 6 hours, can you imagine? Well, as you can see, we still have 1,900 meters. Let's go.
This food carrying trail has a history of more than 200 years. The whole trail can basically accommodate only one person, which is different from the journey up to the mountain. Moreover, it rains more than 200 days a year in Jinggangshan, and the surface of the stones has become very slippery, so I think I might have underestimated the difficulty of this road.
Well, guys, guess what? We only have 400 meters left. Can you imagine? 400 meters left. I am out of breath, but you know what? It's a very mesmerizing journey, and I'm really honored to take, part of the history as well. Why not, right? So let's go those 400, and then I will talk to you when we arrive at the final arrival.
The fog is getting heavier and heavier, which shows that we are not far from the top of the mountain. This trail really makes me realize that it was not easy to live here in those days. Many places on the food carrying trail have fallen off the slope, and many stones have been damaged and molted. However, this trail is like an old man waiting here every day, telling the once brilliant battle story to passing tourists.
Yes, guys, I finally arrived. I'm so proud of myself because I used the pathway that Comrade Mao Zedong and Zhu De used that time. I'm so proud of myself. But guys, if you think twice, remember that day we visited the exhibition and we saw so many shoes made of grass. So can you imagine the Red Army were wearing those kind of shoes and then climbing this whole mountain? Can you imagine? Remember, the floors are slippery, and on top of that, they were carrying what? They were carrying huge loads of what on their shoulders. I'm so mesmerized. All I can say, I'm so out of the breath, as you can see. I'm thirsty, I'm hungry, but it's worth it because you know what? Because today, I might say I made history as well.
In October 1927, a team of less than 1,000 people came to Jinggangshan. They carried crude weapons and only few people wore uniforms. Most of them were dressed in the clothes of farmers and workers, and the cloth stripes tied around their necks were their symbols. The earliest symbols to identify the Chinese Red Army of workers and peasants. In the Jinggangshan Revolution Museum, I'm lucky to see a preserved red cloth stripe.
In the 1920s, the Red Army did not have the uniforms, so in order to know as the part of the Red Army used to wear a red ribbon on the upper arm or simply on their necks to symbolize the actually part of the Red Army.
By January 1929, Mao Zedong raised 150,000 yuan for the military spending to unify the uniforms of the Red Army, which was something that the Red Army soldiers had been eager to have.
Few years later, the first uniforms were made. As you can see, this one here was actually the first uniform made by the Red Army.
The military caps was designed as the octagonal hat worn by Lenin and was decorated with a red star made of cloth. Military jacket was a cardigan-style Chinese tunic suit. It is gray and blue. The two colors present the sky, sea, mountains, and the vast flatlands. In April 1928, the autumn harvest uprising troops led by Mao Zedong and some Nanchang uprising troops led by Zhu De and Chen Yi successfully joined forces in Jinggangshan, which was an important historical event in the history of the founding of the Chinese People Liberation Army. Threatened the army forces of Jinggangshan Revolution Base, large troops stayed in farmers' home in Jinggangshan area.
当时红军到了井冈山以后，我们井冈山基本上周边的这些群众都把自家的这些房屋腾出来给革命军住宿，因为我们没有一个大的可供他们休息的地方，统一的休息地方，所以这些红军基本上都是散落在各个农户的家里面。
After learning the news, the KMT began to encircle the Red Army in Jinggangshan. Facing the encirclement and suppression of the KMT, Mao Zedong began to formulate operational strategies to preserve strength and to protect the people.
These 16 characters played a major role at that time. The Red Army used to use this policy during the Agrarian Revolution War. Actually, it symbolizes no matter what, we have to still develop strength and avoid any kind of weaknesses.
A few days of showers made Jinggangshan very foggy. Today, I will go to see a stone in the mountain, which has witnessed the growth of the Red Army.
We are now located at the Jinggangshan mountain. As you can see here, we have a beautiful stone, and this stone actually has a beautiful story. It's also known as the Lei Dai Shu stone, also this stone. So this stone actually has a huge, amazing history. Let me tell you the history. As you can see, the shape and the texture is kind of weird. Do you know why? Because it was actually struck by the lightning far away from the mountains, and it landed at this location. That's why it's called the Lei Dai Shi stone. In October 1927, when Mao Zedong and his troop were heading to the Jinggangshan mountain, actually he stood on the rock right over there, and he said the 3 rules of discipline and the 6 points of attention.
The name of the song is The 3 Rules of Discipline and the 8 Rules of Attention. Seems that 30 years ago, the soldiers of Chiang Kai-shek were deserting to join the Red Army, and they had to be taught some rules in a hurry. Most of them didn't know how to read. They were illiterate. So So somebody put in the verses of this song all the most important rules. Obey orders, march in step. Don't take anything, not even a needle or thread, without paying for it. Don't molest women. Help the peasants gather their crops. If you do buy something, pay a fair price, and so on, all to this tune.
Yes, this is the famous 3 main rules of discipline and the 6 points for attention. During Yan'an period, it was revised by Mao Zedong and changed to the 3 main rules of discipline and the 8 points for attention. This military discipline formed in Jinggangshan has gradually affected Zimbabwe, Rwanda, Myanmar, and other countries.
The struggle in Jinggangshan led to the foundation of the great victory of the Chinese people. It pushed the Chinese Revolution and, of course, the establishment of the Soviet Republic of China. All I can say, Jinggangshan is the cradle of everything because everything actually started from here. My trip here in Jinggangshan is over. I will see you guys on the next episode.
May 12, 2021. Shower. Here, my trip to Jinggangshan will come to an end. For me, the trip to Jinggangshan undoubtedly answered my previous questions. The Communist Party of China started from the people and did everything for the people, and the people's faith in the party became firmer. This is the significance of my trip to Jinggangshan. Tomorrow, the theme of my journey will return to the Long March. The next stop, I will go to Quanzhou, where the largest number of the Red Army sacrificed on the Long March, where the Xiangjiang campaign took place. The villagers there told me that the remains of the Red Army were found in many places.
挖出来的，我们用的炸弹，我们共产党的炸弹上面有一个五角星的，现在我的全部在馆里面去了，他们要了。